Hey Christian, it's your brother. I just wanted to kind of give you a review of how to tie a double Windsor knot tie. So double Windsor means that there's going to be two loops that you're going to go through and basically knots. So it's not permanent, but just as a review, your dominant hand, which is your left hand, is going to hold the big portion of your tie, and the non-dominant hand, which is your right hand, is going to hold the smaller. The smaller portion is stationary, it doesn't move. That's actually going to hold pretty taut so that the tie can be pretty tight. Now, you don't want it to be choking you, but your dominant hand is going to be the one that moves. This is the moving portion of the tie, the larger part. So just to kind of teach you how to measure, when you stand up, this is going to be even, but what you're going to want to do is move it down to about a third in length. You can tell about a third in length. It's going to be around where your chest is. So now I'm going to sit back down. So with how you're going to tie it is, you're going to first start with your non-dominant hand, which is your right hand. That's going to hold in the middle, which is going to be around where your neck is. Now you're going to have your dominant hand, which is actually going to be moving the tie over, under, through, over, under, through. And so basically that's going to be what's going to be moving. But we will swap hands. So let's start out. So we have your non-dominant, we have your dominant. Now we're going to switch them over. They're going to cross like an X. Now you're going to hold with your dominant hand the stationary part. And you're going to have your non-dominant hand going to pull that tie up through this loop that you have around your neck. So it's going to cross over, behind, up and through. And now the tie, literally the larger portion, is going to be on top. So this is the exterior part of your tie. So now that you have that, now you're going to take your non-dominant hand with the larger part of the tie and go back behind, and you're going to cross it over underneath. And where you're going to see that the tag here is going to be there, crossing over. So now your non-dominant hand is holding the stationary part, and your dominant hand's holding the larger portion of the tie. Now you're going to bring that up in front of the loop and around your neck, and you're going to pull it through and pull it down. And now that big portion of tie, you'll see the tag now is behind. And the reason is we're going to cross this over now in front, and see how I'm holding with my non-dominant hand this smaller portion tie, because I want to hold and make sure the knot is nice and taut. So now I'm going to cross over, switching hands. Now my dominant hand's going to hold the smaller part. Now my non-dominant has the bigger portion, where now that's actually going to go behind and through the loop. Pull it through, and now it's going to be down in front. And now if you see, what we basically did as we crossed over and through, we made a big loop in front. So I wish you could see if the lighting, like there's two little Windsors that cross over. We're going to loosen that front crossover that we made, and we can shove the bigger part of the tie through, which now that's create your double Windsor. So if you see now, the front of the tie is now on the outside. And if I stand up, this goes a little bit below my belly button. This is actually perfect. So what you can see is that stationary part of the tie, you can slide that up and down. So you can make it looser if you want to try to take it off your head. I know we have big cabezas, but if you want to tighten it, you can tighten it and adjust it. And so you will see that's basically how the double Windsor knot is. So I'm going to do this one more time if you want as a review. So if you want to take this off, you can just basically pull it completely so we can start fresh. So now usually if I actually had my dress shirt on, I would tie it to the top button. I know sometimes it can be a little tight, hard to breathe. But now I have my collar up because it's a lot easier. So I'm going to bring the tie, and remember we can start out with having equal, and then kind of bring it up to your chest area, where now that's about a third. Sometimes if I want this tie, if I feel like it's too short, I'll make it a little bit less than a third, maybe a quarter. So now you have your dominant hand holding the bigger part of your tie, which is your left hand, which is my right, and your non-dominant hand holding the smaller part. So because we use our dominant hand more, we can see that it's bigger. We use our non-dominant less, so it's smaller. So now we have it about a third or so. So we bring our non-dominant hand, the smaller portion in the middle, because that's where the tie we want to be. We don't want to have it over here. We have it in the middle. We have our dominant hand, which we're actually going to cross over. So you see, kind of makes like an X. And now we have our dominant hand holding the stationary part, the smaller, and our non-dominant holding the bigger. And you see it's just normally in front, but now we're going to cross behind, through, and down. So now if I just let this go, we see the bigger portions in front, and it's just like normal. That's eventually what our tie will look like in front. And we have our non-dominant, or our stationary part of our tie behind. So it's over front. So now we're going to do one more Windsor. So now we're going to go behind, and we're actually going to swap hands again, and the tie is actually going to cross over where you can see the tag. So it's gone behind and through where now I flipped it along. So now you can see that's our first Windsor. Now what we're going to do is, holding this taut, we're going to bring our dominant hand up in front of that loop, and now we're going to bring it down. So now this is our second Windsor that we're going to make. So now you can kind of see in the light, there's one Windsor, two Windsor. So now if you can see the tie, actually the tag is flipped away so you can see it, which this isn't what we're going to want to do. So let's see, can you remember? We're going to hold the stationary part with our non-dominant hand, with our dominant hand. We're going to cross over, flipping. So now it's going to be the exterior of the tie you're going to see, because this is the nice part. And you're going to go behind the loop, up through the hole, and now you're going to bring it down. So now this is actually where the tie is going to be at the length. So you can check it. This is my belly button, so it goes about there, which is good, a good distance. Now take my hands off because the tie is not going to come undone, but for you, you just want to make sure that as you practice this a few times, you make sure that you hold on to that the smaller part of the tie. Now there is a loop that you crossed over that you can put your finger through, and that's where this tie is going to go. The bigger portion is going to go through and then down. And you can pull it, tighten it, and now you can see, like we showed you earlier, that here's your smaller portion. That's actually the front towards, and this is the front towards. See how it made like a little dimple? I actually like it because of the Double Windsor, it does that. So now you can slide this along the smaller portion side, being careful that you don't get it all the way to the end. So you can take it off if you want to have it ready for your special event, or you can tighten it up like you would have for your dress shirt. Bring the collar down. You always want to adjust it center. I kind of bring this to dimple it to make it look a little nicer, more fancier. You can see in the lighting. Here you can actually bring it, there's a little loop there. Or if you have a tie clip like Dr. Pop used to have, you could poke it through to hold it. You can see that looks pretty good. Well, I hope this tutorial helps you out, brother. I'm so excited to be able to pass on this tradition that Dr. Papa taught me, especially for my 8th grade dance. I remember as it was yesterday, so I just wanted to share his legacy with you, and I wish you the best for your upcoming dance, as well as for this award ceremony for National Junior Honor Society. All right, I love you, brother. Take care. Thanks. Bye.